to Real Madrid Hub, your source for Real Madrid news. I am your host, Eric Rivera, and there is a lot of news today when it comes to transfer and transfer rumors. Of course, as always, the situation gets quite crazy at the end of the transfer window with people coming up with rumors left and right. We heard yesterday, of course, there was a rumor about Mbappe possibly going to Liverpool, at the end of the season. Obviously, we don't put a lot of stake in any of that, but of course, we just report everything that's coming out. And as things start getting a little clearer, then we jump on and say, okay, this one looks like it's coming from a reputable source, but we also report the ones that seem off the wall crazy, because it's kind of what's coming out. But like we always say, you can't believe everything you read. And then sometimes I like to say, you can't believe a player is coming to your club until he's standing next to the president of the club with a jersey in hand and is signing a contract. That's usually how it works. We all get excited and then it doesn't really happen. And with Mbappe and everyone else, that's been tied to the club, it's kind of always been like that, especially considering Florentino hasn't really bought anyone for quite some time, aside from David Alaba and Ferland Mendy. There's just a couple of people who have come to the club. It's been really slim pickings in that regard. But the news today coming out of Mundo Deportivo is that according to, and this is a report from Ana Cordovilla from Mundo Deportivo, Cristiano apparently has offered himself to City, and it looks like it's also, aside from City, it said he offered himself to City at one point, but that again, we are hearing rumors about him coming to Real Madrid. Of course, according to Diario Corriere della Sport, which is of course in Italy, Jorge Mendes, which is Cristiano Ronaldo's agent, was negotiating with the club with Manchester City to bring Cristiano Ronaldo apparently to Manchester City. That's what the report says. Who has asked to leave Juventus. But of course, a lot of problems there is that Manchester City just signed quite a bit of money for Jack Grealish, and they are also in the running to get Harry Kane from Tottenham, a Harry Kane that has not played for Tottenham as of yet. We don't know what's going to happen there with Harry Kane. But, Cristiano has been associated with quite a few teams. He's been associated with PSG. He's been associated with Manchester United. He's been associated, obviously, with Real Madrid. So a lot of people would love to have Cristiano Ronaldo on their team, especially considering that even at his age, he continues to bang in goals and does so in a large number. So the other person, obviously, the other team that is interested in Real Madrid, and this is according to Edu Aguirre, who came out last night on El Chiringuito, saying that Ancelotti has talked to Cristiano and, Cristiano's agents and Cristiano's circle, and essentially wants to sign him. Even was mentioning that he had spoken to Florentino and wants to sign him. I was reading another thing on Twitter. Do not know the source. Do not remember the source. I don't have it in front of me. But I was reading another thing on Twitter just now, a few minutes ago, which was saying that somebody had come out, another journalist had come out and said that Florentino or somebody in Real Madrid had said that conversation never took place. Ancelotti never asked for Cristiano. So what to believe, ladies and gentlemen? But we do know Edu Aguirre is obviously close to Cristiano, has a pretty good relationship with Cristiano's, circle, is a huge fan of Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, and a Madridista as well. And he, dropped that yesterday, saying that that was apparently what he was hearing, that Cristiano's circle and Ancelotti apparently had spoken, and Ancelotti had even asked for the player. Who knows if that is ultimately true? It could be. That would be great to see Cristiano back at Real Madrid. But of course, this is no longer, in my opinion, this is no longer a team. It doesn't make sense in a way. I mean, I would love to have him back, but at the same time, if you're trying to renew the team and go for the younger players and start focusing on what's going to be the future of Madrid, then it kind of doesn't make any sense to bring somebody like Cristiano back. Essentially, we already have Bale, we have Eden Hazard, we have Modric, players that are getting up there in age. Well, Eden Hazard just turned 30, but it's with Bale and Cristiano and Modric, it's like you're trying to, even in Benzema, it's like you're trying to conserve, yes, a group that gave you a lot of things in the past, but that are slowly becoming more and more aged, and they are obviously not going to be able to hold you over forever, and still would cost you quite a bit of money. Obviously, Bale's contract is ending. We don't know what's going to happen with Luka Modric, although he said he would retire after the World Cup, but we don't know if that's from just the national team or from Real Madrid as well. That will all depend if Real Madrid renews him after this season. But who knows what's going to happen there. And bringing Cristiano, it would be interesting to see, how long he would come for. Would it be just a year, which would be kind of what I would think, considering the policy that Real Madrid has. Maybe that's to hold him over until Mbappe and Haaland and these other guys that are reportedly rumored to come to Real Madrid. That could be an option if it is that Mbappe is not coming. And the other thing is that Mbappe is still the priority, of course, but it could be that they wouldn't take bringing back Cristiano off the table if they cannot get Mbappe this season, which of course is something that I don't know. It's something that. I don't know if it would make a ton of sense, but oh well, it would be great to have him back. I would, for the nostalgic reason of being a Madridista, it would be beautiful to have him back. And Juventus, of course, would be very interested in selling him because of his salary that is close to 65 million, and essentially they can get that off their books. There was even rumors that he could go to PSG if Mbappe does end up leaving. So all of this, guys, is up in the air. But yes, the news in, resuming that, just summarizing that news is that Cristiano had offered himself apparently to Manchester City, and at this point is once again dancing around the idea has been danced around that he could possibly make a comeback to Real Madrid. And in other news, when it comes to Mbappe, of course, the obsession, the desire of Florentino Perez of Real Madrid is to bring the Frenchman, the young French superstar, to Real Madrid, who more and more these days is becoming somebody that I appreciate, I would say, because he's getting pressure left and right from PSG to either renew or not leave, and being pressured in so much so that they're talking about him and kind of almost in a forceful, I would say, negative way. They're booing him at the stadium, and at 22 years old, he seems very determined in his ideas, that he wants to leave, and that's his decision, so that is interesting to me. Then that if he comes, and this was something else that I read on Twitter, but I would say if this kid can weather the storm of all the criticism that he's receiving in France, from the PSG players, and from the board itself, that he's receiving so much pressure to renew or to stay. If this kid were to weather all of that and come in the summer, dude, this is the biggest Madridista we've ever seen. Absolutely in love with this team, so much so that he's like taking on the world to come here. And if he doesn't come, if he doesn't come and he still takes, how would I say? He is willing to take an entire year of people yelling at him and trying to get him to renew, and he still doesn't renew after an entire year and comes in 2022. Well, this guy is 100% a Madridista. Of course, this guy really wants to be part of this team and went through the ringer, as they say, in order to get here. So, the news coming out of Defensa Central from Antonio Perez is saying that a very close friend of Thibaut Courtois, he's actually his flatmate, essentially, lives in the same building as him and is a good friend, close friend, said that he posted on Twitter, his name on Twitter is Manucho, and he said that really, guys, more than ever, you guys can be totally calm, essentially. And then he put an emoji, which is the emoji that's been associated with Mbappe, which is the turtle. And of course, he put the little emoji of I can't say anything more, the monkey with his hands over his mouth saying I can't say anything more. So essentially, kind of letting us know, or letting Madridistas know, that Kylian Mbappe is on his way, that it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. And the other day, I think yesterday as well, my good friend J Real Madrid, who is, of course, helps me out on this channel, and we both have this channel, really more so his channel. He was speaking yesterday when saying, guys, we got to be relaxed. Things are happening. There's so much news out there about what's happening with Mbappe, but let's just be calm, because things will happen. Things will happen. We have to be patient. Things are happening behind the scenes that we obviously don't get all the details about, because these are things that they keep very close to their chest, and essentially they don't want to hide. They want to hide them, and it could be that they're already negotiating, and from the public, the publicity point of view, PSG is doing one thing, but then internally they're doing another. All those things can happen. But essentially, the flatmate Manucho is saying, be calm. This is going to happen, and just being optimistic apparently. And this is, this information is interesting because of the fact that Manucho being close to Thibaut Courtois, and Thibaut Courtois recently renewed his contract with Real Madrid, basically at the beginning of the week. We know that Courtois obviously had direct contact with Florentino, and who knows what kind of conversation he had, where the player could have had a conversation where Mbappe's name came up, and essentially got this information where, from Florentino himself saying to Courtois, hey, he's going to come. We're just working on it right now. Fill in the blanks essentially. And then of course Courtois could go back and then talk to his friend and essentially, say those things. And this guy posts on Twitter, everybody should just be calm. Now, of course, there are tons of tweets coming out about Mbappe coming or going or coming or going or coming or going, and they're coming from different sources. And so, once again, I think we need to, just like my good friend Jota said yesterday, we have to approach everything with a sense of calm. Everyone's going to say something, and we don't know for sure. Because the next piece of news I have is the complete opposite of this one. And it's that they were mentioning in Mundo Deportivo that PSG is not planning on selling Mbappe this summer. So in France, this is from Mundo Deportivo. In France, they're saying that Mbappe is not going anywhere this summer, and that even more so, they are going to try to renew him this season. That's why I'm saying, if this kid, who's 22 years old, mind you, remember where you were at 22. You might be 22 right now, but remind you where you were at 22 years old. Were you a World Cup champion? Were you a multiple-time Ligue 1 champion? Were you sought after by the greatest clubs in the world at the age, not even of 22? I mean, he's been sought after, I think, since the age of 18. Even 17, I think he's been looked at, this kid, as the new second coming of essentially, after the Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi era, this kid could be the one that takes us into that next era of big name players. At 22, if he were to face all this pressure, both internally and externally, so internally from the club and externally from the fans that are booing him and all kinds of stuff, everything that's circling around him, if he were to be able to withstand all that and come to Real Madrid, there is no way that anybody at Real Madrid could never say that this dude doesn't have Madrid at his heart. I mean, this kid wants to play for this team if he ends up coming after all this BS happens. So it continues to happen to him. So it says, Real Madrid is still trying to sign him this summer, but PSG say that it is that they are not going to sell him, and that they are going to they're going to keep him this summer, and essentially that they are even going to try to darle la vuelta a la tortilla, as they would say in Spain, which is basically trying to turn a new leaf with the player, make the relationship better, and try to get him to re-sign with the club. Of course, Real Madrid is very much on top of this situation, and we are hearing, and that's the next piece of news I have, that there is already an offer, essentially an offer being formed by Real Madrid for 150 million euros in order to push PSG to negotiate to offer them that money. Even though today it seems like it still could be complicated, but who knows what will happen. Today is Tuesday, August 17th. We heard that yesterday, and now this has gone to the next piece of news, that this is coming from ABC, Diario ABC from Madrid. It says Real Madrid is preparing a 150 million euro offer to bring Mbappe to Real Madrid. So Real Madrid apparently stepping forward, or willing, or gearing up to step forward to offer PSG the 150 million euros for Kylian Mbappe. So that is the news there, in the sense that, they want to bring him. They want to step forward and get the money. So we heard yesterday, and everybody was waiting, that there was going to be a meeting between Kylian Mbappe and Al Khelaifi, president of PSG. That didn't happen yesterday, at least not that we know of. And apparently they were saying that meeting could either happen, it could have happened yesterday, or it could happen today. So Tuesday, another day for many Madridistas to be biting their fingernails and wondering what's going to happen. Now, it's currently 8:30 a.m. in the morning here on the East Coast of the United States, which is where I'm reporting from. So that would say, I don't know, it's probably like afternoon, maybe, yes, it's the afternoon in France. Could be very shortly that they are going to meet, and we will see what's going to happen at that meeting, if it does happen. What we did hear from El Chiringuito and Pedredol is that it doesn't seem like Kylian Mbappe is going to come out publicly and say anything. He's trying to be a gentleman about the situation, which is another thing I am completely appreciating about this guy, is he doesn't want to make this a big deal. And at this point, I think PSG is the one that's making it a bigger deal than it should be. Because yes, of course they want to keep a player like this guy, and they're going to do as much as they can to stop it from happening. But Mbappe is trying to be as, I would say, as gentlemanly as possible, and trying not to make, big statements or go after or fall out with the club, essentially, because he does respect PSG. So the idea is that he's going to be speaking with him today. That he's going to be speaking with with Al Khelaifi today, and most likely there is even rumors that there will be a Zoom meeting that's coming from Paco Bullo, that was also in El Chiringuito, that there could be a meeting not only with El Khelaifi today, but with at the meeting will be a Zoom call with the Emir of Qatar, who is of course the owner of the team as well, to discuss the situation. And it will be where Mbappe, apparently the news is that Mbappe will ask PSG, not that he wants to leave. I mean, they already know that, and that he's not going to renew, but he's going to ask them to please negotiate or start negotiating with Real Madrid. And we know that if they do, Real Madrid has an offer on the table for 150 million euros, and we will see what happens with that. So that is the news I have right now, guys, for Real Madrid Hub, for Real Madrid. Craziness happening all over, and it's going to continue happening until we finally either get the guy or don't get the guy. And then the season also is continuing with us playing with Levante this weekend. But that's the news I have for now, the Real Madrid news. And if you want more Real Madrid news on a daily basis from myself, from my good friend Jota, Dr. Jota, or Jota Real Madrid, as you guys might know him, then please go up there to the top, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, the bell with the notification, so that you get notified every time we drop a new video. I know Jota is making a bunch all the time, and I am as well every single day, making these longer videos because we've heard that a lot of you guys enjoy them. So it's kind of like a mini podcast, you could say, by both of us. So he's on top of everything throughout the day. Jota is on top of everything throughout the day. I mean, he will, if something big happens, he will chime in right away, guys. So hit the notifications so that you can get all of that up-to-date information. And then, also every time we release a video. And subscribe to the channel, help us grow. And thank you very much for listening. As always, this is Eric Rivera from Real Madrid Hub.